All right, yes.
Justice in terms of the environment being able to carry out its own justice. For example, you do wrong to the environment, it has a way, you know, that, for example, you have overpopulation, right? And things are really bad.
So, but the premise is, first of all, do you think there's an injustice being done to the environment by climate change?
Yes, yes and no.
Yes? Yes and
No.
no?
Ish. No, ish. Yes.
What an uncommitted answer. Yes and no ish.
For example, sir, when you continuously do bad to the environment kind of makes a way to make you feel pain. For example, you have tsunamis and the hurricanes keep getting worse and worse and people die and all these things.
Siobhan, you feel like you said something
as
like that.
it being the environment carrying on justice on us for the wrong that we've done.
So why she's not going to come up with
You
that?
could other answer.
And you could have ideas of her own, you know.
My issue
Are you
with
say something
the
to her?
question, sir, was I
Donica,
think
why you ask
how
me
you
that?
look at the word justice.
Why you ask me that?
To the, if you want to answer to the question, I would say yes, but like I said, it's how you look at the question. To me, justice is really a concept of human beings. And to have justice, you have to have a right that is being protected. Inherently, the environment has no right, because rights are a human concept.
Yes,
Therefore,
that's true, that's true.
That's true.
Finish.
What is the right of the newborn in the middle of a savannah when a lion comes by and eats it? Human beings would say that it has a right to live, but in the environment there is no such thing.
Yes, sir, I said that in the animal rights thing.
When you look at justice, and as she was looking at it, justice in that the environment is paying you back for what you have done. What is actually happening is really what that concept is, the human concept of an eye for an eye, that everybody will go blind. That is really that concept. Because justice as it is, sir, is the concept to maintain social stability. But justice in itself can be politicized, it can be moticized and all of that. My concept, my
So you're saying justice is a human thing, so it cannot be applied to the environment?
No. What can be applied, however, is actually trying to re-educate persons that it's not really a matter of right or wrong, but it is a matter of doing what is best for yourself.
Yeah.
No, it's because if you don't apply to human self-interest, you're not going to get anything.
Yeah.
If you apply to right and wrong, then everybody's going to have their own stance and their own take.
Alright, let me take
Yeah,
two
here.
comments, yes.
Okay, but sir, we're asking this question in context of climate change, right?
Climate change.
Okay, the environment has no rights, but we're screwing up the cycle or the system that or the balance that exists within the environment. Hence, we're supposed to feel bad and say, I mean.
No, I don't feel bad. Answer her.
You're supposed to feel bad and say, okay, fine, let's try to mitigate the matter and put it back to what's supposed to be, or at least attempt to do that. So I don't think you can say the environment has no rights. Living organisms on a whole have rights. That is why
you said that.
No, I don't think it's me, Cesar. I think that's
Well,
just
you're saying
how.
it, no.
So she's saying that intrinsically the environment has a right to
Yes,
be
sir.
the environment and do what the
Exactly,
environment
and we are
does.
affecting that negatively, and hence we should make it better because we screwed it up in the first place.
Okay, so here is a whole concept of environmental ethics that is coming in, which is something you may also want to reflect on. You may want to reflect on.
Yeah.
In fact, I would argue that if I took a poll of the class, most of you here would say you are Christian or Christian-minded, right? I would hope so.
Suppose you are Muslim, sir.
Well, it doesn't even matter if it's Christianity, religious-minded, let me say that. And probably one of the problems is religion teaches a dominance. And it teaches a dominance of human beings over the environment. And so there's a whole line of climate change that looks on whether the environment has a fact, has a role in itself. For example, to praise a God. Doesn't the environment, if I were to quote scripture, it talk about being made new every morning, it talk about raising the environment, the heavens declare the glory of God. Don't there something? Am I not right? Doesn't that suggest that the environment is imbued with an ability of its own that is independent of human beings? And therefore, if climate change is affecting that, then you are doing an injustice to the environment. And so maybe one of the reasons why we must even consider climate change is to right and injustice. You know, but it's just something for you to consider. All right? I only have 2 minutes, so I really have to take the last, or 1 minute. Climate change is really an issue for the future generation. By then, technology will be advanced to deal with it anyway.
Okay, so we made up 5 points, and the first one is that climate change is an issue for us today, and we're currently facing the problem, so it's our responsibility, not necessarily solely for us, but at least to try to attempt to mediate the issue. That's the first point. Secondly, technology will be advancing, yes, and we hope that it will fix the problem, but climate is changing now, and technology has to keep up with the climate change in order for it to have a good impact on it, or to fix it, as you would probably put it. Thirdly, there are limits to the implementation of technology to climate change and human intervention necessary, meaning there are practical steps that individually as humans we have to take, not just or advancing technology. Fourthly, putting it off to the future is not necessarily going to solve the climate issues then, and so there has to be a stepping stone, there has to be progression right now. And finally, continuous procrastination will not necessarily resolve the issue. We need to attempt to solve this issue now. The future generation will probably just do what we're doing right now and put it off for them. There will be effects for our procrastination now, and so we inevitably, and seeing as though we inevitably create the future, we have to lead the way for the solution.
And of course, you want to think of the whole aspect that there is a whole moral argument as well about the future generation, which, by the way, are your children. Right? So there's a whole moral argument about the kind of world that you leave for them, considering the kind of world that you inherited during your time. All right? We have to care about the children. But then there's the other side that, boy, we have enough problems to deal with right now. You know, we have everything else, so why deal with it now? Anyway, I think I've given you enough to reflect on and think about. I hope
Can you post the lecture, please?
Or every group, please post your notes on the live.